And welcome to another exciting adventure of the energy that surrounds us. I'm your host, Michael. And today's episode, I had a guest scheduled from Australia, which it's 6 a.m. there right now. And so I have reached out to her, so we may be postponing this episode due to the time difference. And I am looking forward to everyone being able to meet my guest because we had an amazing show and she has an amazing topic to talk about. And we actually, if we talked about what we planned on, we would have been talking about elemental spirits, cryptids, and she is half Navajo, which means that she has, cultural insight into the skinwalkers, and we were going to discuss her people's beliefs about them. So hopefully we can get her on at a later time. And welcome, Manta Pengaler. I hope I pronounced that right. And thank you for joining us. And I am gonna take a little bit of if she is able to join us, and if not, we'll just do an impromptu show where I will share what I'm up to and what's upcoming for the shows. Right now, I am in the midst of working on 3, possibly 4 books. So I'm not done writing yet. I know it's been a while since I published a book, but trust me, you are going to love these books when they come out. I have some great topics coming up, and tonight we do have another episode of The Energy That Surrounds Us with Reagan Forston, who is going to share more information into his adventures into the afterlife and how he works with a company that is able to help people experience the afterlife without having to go through the trauma of death. So tune into that one. That episode will be at 8 o'clock Central Time tonight. And this episode happens to be the 63rd episode of this year. I have to say, I am kind of shocked and amazed at where we're at number wise of episodes. And I'm wondering if you all that are watching, if you had a favorite episode so far and wouldn't mind sharing that episode, or if there's a guest and a topic that you would like me to cover, feel free to put it in the chat room. And Olive 19, yes, Dolly Parton did pass away. That is some really sad news, and she would sorely be missed. She was a great actress. She was a great singer, had a huge heart, and I enjoyed watching her on Hallmark movies when she made her appearances with Dollywood. And so it is sad that she has passed on, and she will be missed. With that being said, can you believe we're already at the end of August? That this is the last full week of August, and next week, Monday, is the last day of August, and we're already into September. It seems like the year is just passing us by and going into super fast mode. And coming up in September, this show and my show Writing Through the Unknown will primarily, the majority of the episodes will be guests that I have selected through Michelle Freed, a publicist. She is amazing. She comes up with some really awesome guests and is really awesome to work with. I am so grateful that I met her through Andy Decodes, and I've worked with her in the past, and so I am super excited. We have already 3 episodes in September booked, and so I will give you a little glimpse into that. We have on Tuesday the 1st, we will have the half-hour channeling session in the afternoon, which is moved to 2 o'clock Central Time. Then at 9 o'clock Central Time, Julie Adriani will be coming on for the energy that surrounds us. Then on September 2nd, Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central Time is Suzanne Ross on the energy, or on Writing Through the Unknown. And then on Friday, I have Gina Virginia Casella coming on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to talk about her upcoming conference on September 19th, Falling Consciously. And at 9 o'clock, I believe it is, I'll have to check the time, is Alex Lipton will be coming on Writing Through the Unknown. So 2 episodes of Writing Through the Unknown. And on Friday the 4th, and then on Wednesday, September 9th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon is Mark Fiorentino. I am super excited so far with the guests that are coming on. And later in the month, I will have on September 17th for an hour doing the evidential live mediumship readings with Tammy Christine Radin. That'll be exciting, and it's always fun for people's loved ones. And also on September 24th, I have Geraldine Orozco coming back onto Riding Through the Unknown for another appearance. And on September 30th at 3 o'clock, Gina Virginia Casella is coming on to talk about her shows, her books, and also there are going to be 3 channeling sessions. And on September 13th, if everything goes as planned, you will find me as co-host of What the Frick Live Rebooted with Emily Menshouse. It'll be a 2-hour show from 6:30 to 9:30 Central Time, I believe, or might be Eastern Time. And so I also have so far scheduled on September 16th is Paul Dale Roberts, Paul's pop culture podcast episode scheduled, where I am co-host of that podcast show with Paul Dale Roberts. And on September 25th at 8 o'clock Central Time is Paul Dale Roberts' All Things Paranormal, which I am a panelist and a part of that, so you'll see me there. And let's see what's going on in the chat room. Hello, Jason. I'm doing well. How are you and everybody doing? T3HU. I don't know if Dollywood is going to go on sale. I kind of feel like it won't. And I'm sure she got it set to take care of itself. So, but that'll be interesting to see what's going on. I'm glad you're doing well, Jason. And Jason, hopefully you'll tune in on September 17th when we do the readings with Tammy, and we'll see if we can't get your family members to come in and chat with you. We do our best, and keep tuning in because we want to try and get readings for everybody that's watching, and we know you've been in the chat room, and so we're going to do our best to help you get family members or someone to come in and bring a message for you. So be sure to join, and we appreciate you coming. Let's see, T3HU. You should just tell us some good alien stories. Well, I do have some interesting alien stories. I have shared most of them on here, but doing some of the work that I do, I have been off planet and met a lot of interesting alien cultures. I've met Octurians, I've met Andromedans, Palladians, I've met Syrians, Lyrans, I've met many cultures, the mantis beings. And the mantis beings, I feel like, are a little bit misrepresented because everybody thinks of them as an insect race, and thanks to shows like Starship Troopers where the insects are trying to kill us, that people have a fear of mantis beings. And the mantis beings are a healing race, and so they come to help us heal and are great energy workers, and they understand our bodies really well and are able to regenerate our bodies and keep our bodies functioning well. So if you ever get hurt or you have a sore muscle that you wanting to get it healed up, don't be afraid to ask the mantis beans to come and work on it while you're asleep, because you never know, they most likely will show up and will be glad to help you out. Let's see. The ant beans, they're inner earth right now, and they work with the mantis as well. And I'm thinking about trying to arrange when I go into the astral realm one time. I'm thinking about getting the mantis and the ant people and a few other tribes or cultures around, and just kind of have an informal party and just kind of chill out, play some really cool music, and see if some of them will bring their instruments, like the floating pianos. That would be cool to watch someone play a floating piano. And so, if you want to know more also about a lot of the cultures, tune into the channeling sessions that I do with Starseed Lolo, because those sessions, I don't know who's coming in, and Starseed Lolo, she may know a little bit ahead of time, but she doesn't tell me so that I can't create an agenda or I can't push the show in a certain direction. So all the information that comes through and all the questions that are asked are channeled questions, and the answers are channeled back to us. And so it is purely for information usage. We're not saying what we're doing is fact based. It's just to give everyone an idea or another way of thinking about this. And so come and just experience it and see what you think for yourselves. And we like to create shorts from that show, so that's why I don't put questions or comments or often read comments on that show, because we, in making shorts, want to keep the information to the channeling and keep it pure as much as possible. And so with the mediumship show, I don't do shorts with that, and so that's why you'll see messages popping up all the time, and it's a different formatted show. So that's the main reason behind that. And I created the intro for both shows and the outro for the mediumship with Tammy show. And Tammy helped me with the music, and she gave full approval before launching the intro and outro. So we both love the intro and outro a lot, and I am so grateful for the shows that I have, the guests that I've had on, the guests that are coming on, and for those of you who are joining us right now, Yvonne is in Australia and it's about 6:30 in the morning there, and I have a feeling she might have overslept, and so we will work on scheduling for a better time and bringing her back on to have an episode, as I really would like to have her information and her story and experiences shared. And so, with that coming up as well, I do have a few paranormal events coming up where I plan on attending as a guest. And we are getting close to Halloween season already. It's kind of surprising. This year seems to be just flying by, and before we know it, 2026 will be behind us and we'll be into 2027. Time is sure starting to move fast. And with the energy that surrounds us, I am curious if you all can comment in the chat room if you're watching right now. This season, I've included on the thumbnails the topics, potential topics for the episodes. And I'm curious what you all think of those. And if you watched the promo ads that I put out, what's your thoughts on the music and the ads as well? Are they engaging? Are you wanting to see them? Or, does it make you want to watch the episodes? Or do you just find them as entertainment? I'm just curious as a podcast host just to see, the thoughts behind it and everything. And I didn't end up getting this summer to San Antonio to go into the dimensional forest again, but I am trying to figure out if I can get there in the fall when the temperature's better, because right now in the summer in Texas, we have been over 100 degrees many days. And so what that means for those of you who aren't in Texas, what that means for us is we around noon be at 100 most days, and 5 o'clock is the hottest point of the day. So you can imagine if it's noon, the temperature is only going to go up, and it's already at triple digits. And then at night, it gets maybe down into the 90s, maybe the 80s a little bit. So we don't get a break from the heat in the summertime. So it makes paranormal investigating challenging. And I am looking at going to do some scouting locations coming up as well. And I'll be joined by hopefully some friends doing all of this, and going to try and figure out also how to get time to finish working on some of the books or get more written. Also, balancing speaking, maybe speaking at some more conferences coming up online. And so make sure you follow along and subscribe to everything, because you never know where I'm going to pop in, when I'm going to pop up. I do have a few interviews coming up as well. And so I am super excited for the new shows coming up, and super excited to see, if there's going to be a season 5 to my shows and what that's going to look like. And if you all have any ideas, I am open to ideas that you may have of what you've been enjoying And don't be afraid to reach out to me, everyone. If you have questions or I guess that you enjoyed or topic that you enjoyed hearing about, do reach out to me if you want to know more. I am totally happy to talk with anyone about the metaphysics, paranormal, the unexplained, or the esoterics, the disclosure. So just keep that in mind. And my one cryptid experience I will share with you was in the dimensional forest where wendigos were there and shapeshifters were there. And it's watching the shapeshifters is really interesting because they move and blend in so fast that you can sit there and think, did I really see that? And write it off as, nah, I didn't see that. But I literally were seeing shadow beings that night in the dimensional forest moving along the sidewalk and then taking the shape of like a trash can or taking the shape of a archway that isn't connected to anything, that just is kind of like a marker for where the path is. And I know a lot of people, when you talk about like experiences of the mist and disoriented time or seeing, something out of the corner of your eye that turns into something else. A lot of people can easily say, oh, that's imagination. But when you see in front of you trees and branches on a pathway that are only visible with light, and when you turn the light off, they disappear as well, and it looks like an open path, and you can actually walk through the path without touching a branch. That is not so easy to me to dismiss, and that is one of the reasons why I'm wanting to go back to the dimensional forest. And I think it's a good thing that I'm not going back yet, because losing my mom in late April has kind of messed with my emotions and my mind a little bit. Well, a lot, I'll be honest. And I've been processing through that. And so when you go to locations that are well known for shifting in time and space and dimensions, you gotta be careful and you gotta take care of yourself so that you don't end up hurting yourself or getting yourself confused and disoriented and potentially sick from the experience. Because as much as these experiences are really cool and being able to say I've experienced that is really cool, it's not worth your health. And so I feel like that's why I haven't been able to get down to San Antonio right now, is because my mental state is not 100% like it was when I first went there. So I'm just grateful that my friends are supporting me and helping me through this. And I know in the days coming, every day it seems to be better and better. And so soon I may become more active and not so much a hermit, which some of my friends do that. And kudos to them for taking care of themselves and doing what they need to do. I actually am grateful to a friend. Recently, I got to go and hang out for a while, and we went swimming in a pool at her community, and it was so cool being in the water because the last time I was in the water was when I went to Nevada, got really bad sunburn from being on the river and in the CME, which is coronal mass. So the sun was hotter that day and more intense. So I have learned my lesson and have new aquatic gear for when that occasion, if it happens again next year when I'm on the river again, rafting or tubing, I should say. And you got to be careful when you're tubing. I will say this because I noticed there are times where the water looks really deep and everything, and next thing you know, if you're sitting on the tube, which means your bottom is in the whole area and probably below it, you are going to hit all kinds of rocks and branches and stuff in the water that you can't see. So do be careful and do take care of yourselves and do watch the weather. Do watch the temperatures and if there's solar storms because everything does take a toll. And the sun is increasing its heat, and I can see every day looking out that yeah, the as soon as the grass is done getting watered, it's pretty much looking like the ground is all dried because the intensity of the heat just absorbs the water. And we as humans, we will sweat and we don't realize we're sweating because it's called a dry sweat. And that's where dehydration comes in because we don't realize we're losing fluids. So do take care of yourselves. And I am looking forward to this coming conference with Gina Falling Consciously. And one of the things that's interesting about the fall is I wrote an article for Tilly Treadwell in her magazine that's coming about the fall. And one of the things that she asked me to do was to look into the esoterics of the fall. What does it really mean? And a lot of people, when you say, oh, what's the fall? Oh, it's the changing of the leaves. Or, oh, it's, Halloween. It's, Thanksgiving, a few holidays in there. Well, there also is the fact of it's where nature starts to prepare itself for the winter. And what that looks like for humans and spiritual beings and other, star seeds, hybrids, everybody goes through it. But what it means for us is it's a time of introspection where we're going to stop being so active, start to look at where we are in our lives. What are we wanting to accomplish by year's end? What can we accomplish? What's coming? What's not coming? What's doable? And just taking in for ourselves what's going on and where we are in our lives and what we need to do during this time is we need laughter, we need smiles, we need communication with other people because it is very easy in the fall time of the year going within to shut yourself off from everybody, isolate yourself, and in doing so, you're going to get lost in your head in processing your feelings, doing shadow work, and it's very dangerous to do that because you could end up getting trapped in your own thoughts and everything, and that's what leads to, I think, a lot of people starting to feel lost and overwhelmed. So take a moment and reach out, and if you're not in it but you know people who do it, reach out to them and just say hello, and or send them a smile, and just you never know how much all of that makes a difference. And Anchorhaven is in Belgium. Wow, that's pretty cool. She must be going to conference and getting ready for a conference. So welcome and hello, Anchor Haven. And also, I want to take a moment and just say I am grateful to all of you who have been with me on this journey of already like 63 or 60 some episodes of this show this year alone. And I just recently was notified that riding through the unknown and energy that surrounds us together on platforms where the shows are together, we have over 400 episodes. And so I just wanted to take a moment and just say thank you to you all for joining me on this journey. And I have to say, on my journey in Nevada, when I was on vacation, I had no TV for most of the vacation because they were switching from cable to satellite. And so I was in my head a lot and kind of isolated a little bit because all my friends were off on the land somewhere nearby, but I had an encounter, and so here you go, T3HU. Here is a good alien story for you. So Saturday night, I am laying down and I'm noticing my sunburn is starting to feel a little more intense, but not really too much. So I did put cold water towel on a leg one at a time just to try and ease the redness. And so when I went to try and sleep, I found that I was being visited by some beings that were not of this planet, and they, I do not feel, had the best of intentions with me. And so they thought my guard was down and that I was weakened because I was sunburned and taking care of that. So they thought my defenses would be down, and they tried to infiltrate my body and tried to enter my body for I don't know what reason. But I spent the entire evening, I could see myself fending them off using psionic energy and other energies to keep them at bay and my shields up. And when morning came, I was feeling tired from not sleeping at all that night, but these shadow masses then started giving up because the light of the sun was out, and so the room was getting somewhat illuminated from the sunlight. And so I started feeling a lot better and felt like I had won and kept them from entering my body was my feelings. And so I went to hang out with my friends that were there and celebrate my friend's birthday party and had a great night. Then went to sleep again that night and again no sleep. But this time the TV was back and I watched a few shows, mainly Mysteries at the Museum or Mysteries of the Museum, I think it's called. And then left the next day to come back home. And I gotta say, when it comes to sunburns, nothing is more annoying on a sunburn than fabric rubbing against it. And unfortunately, I only had long pants to travel with. And so I, yeah, had 2 days of wearing long pants, rubbing my sunburn, and then flying back in long pants, rubbing it. And so I will say on Sunday, I did wake up with my legs looking purplish. And then Monday, no, it was Monday, they woke up looking purplish. And I flew home, and getting home late that night, I woke up the next day and I was putting Manuka honey on my sunburn because it started to blister, and the blisters disappeared. And the next thing I know is the skin just started peeling off. And so, needless to say, it said online if your skin turns purple from sunburn, it'll take months for the body to heal from that. And I have to say it took me 2 weeks. So I am so grateful my body does what it does and that the healing factor is what it is. And I also am grateful my face has returned to normal looking and I don't look like I was in a fight anymore. And so thank you to everybody who reached out and was asking about what happened and showing concern. And so I am going to say goodbye for now, and I'm going to end this episode here because I feel like I've shared a lot and I'm starting to feel like what's coming up for me to share is repetitive from earlier. So do like, subscribe, and follow along because you never know when episodes may pop up unexpected or unexpected guests may pop up. And I will be talking with Yvonne Anderson to reschedule and have her on to share her story. And for those that missed it in the beginning, we were going to be talking about elemental spirits, cryptids, and how she is half Navajo Native American. So that's where the Skinwalker legends come from. And she was going to share her people's beliefs about them. And so thank you, Haven. I am doing that, and you take care of yourself. Blessings to you in Belgium. And for some of you may be aware, and some of you may not be aware, you'll notice Anchor Haven has a mark next to her name in the chat room now and on screen. That is because after much debating and me thinking I could do everything myself, I was offered help by Anchor Haven to be a moderator for the show and to help me with moderating the chat room and making sure I don't miss information in the chat rooms. Well, I finally gave in, and I am grateful to say that Anchor Haven and Missing Time 420 are the moderators, and they are helping me with shows behind the scenes and watching the chat rooms. So I just want to say thank you again to Anchor Haven and Missing Time 420 for all that you do for my shows now, for everybody else's shows, and for yourselves. And so, with that, I'm going to say, have a blessed afternoon, everyone. And reminder tonight at 8 o'clock Central Time, I will be live with Reagan Forston, and we will be talking about his 3 ventures into the afterlife, what they were like, his books that he wrote about it, and his group that he works with about guiding people into the afterlife without the trauma of the death to go through. So tune in tonight. It'll be another amazing show. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. Have a wonderful day, and may hope ever guide you. All right, everyone. With that, I'm going to say au revoir, ciao, sayonara, wherever you are in the world. Make it a great day. All right, everyone. See you on the next episode. Bye-bye. Okay, so we had a little glitch with the outro. Let's try it again.